Good evening. In today's summary, the Public Utilities Corporation (PUC) continues to implement measures to meet the country's water demand, including increasing desalination production and enforcing water restrictions to conserve supplies. The General Manager of PUC's Water Division, Ibrahima Diallo, said water levels have fallen significantly due to the prolonged dry season. Reservoirs at La Grogue, Rochon, and Lugnol, along with other dams across the country, are now at low levels and cannot meet current demand. PUC is therefore encouraging households to install water storage tanks to reduce the impact of restrictions. All at the same time, work continues with key partners on the construction of new dams at Grand'Anse-Mahé and on Pralet.
We have not received much rain for the past 2 months, and our rivers and barrages level has gone to a lower level. Okay, we've been noticing this day by day. So eventually, we had to start our desalination plant for us to be able to meet the demand. So we have to impose restrictions over Mahé, Prane, and Ladig. And the restriction hours for Mahé is from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. in the morning, and at night from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. in the morning. And likewise for Prane. Only on Ladig, we only have night restrictions from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m.
President Patrick Emini chaired the third meeting of the Presidential Economic Advisory Council, which focused on the future of agriculture in the Seychelles. Discussions centered on ways to modernize the agricultural sector to strengthen food security, economic resilience, and the well being of the population. The Council reviewed initiatives aimed at increasing local food production, improving support for farmers, and promoting sustainable solutions through innovation, access to finance, new technologies, water management, and skills development. President Emini emphasized that agriculture is a national priority and requires close collaboration between the government and the private sector, financial institutions, researchers, and producers. The Supreme Court has scheduled new hearing dates this month to continue the case brought by the office of the Ombudsman and the Human Rights Commission against the Commission of Inquiry into the Montagne Poussy prison riot. The two institutions are seeking to stop the live broadcast of the Commission's hearings, arguing that it could affect the rights of witnesses and interfere with their own investigations. An early application for an interim injunction to suspend the broadcast was dismissed by Judge Gustave Daudet, who ruled that there was insufficient evidence to justify the request. The case will now move forward after the Office of the Ombudsman and the Human Rights Commission confirmed their intention to pursue the matter. Meanwhile, related constitutional issues are also before the Constitutional Court. Both institutions are challenging the Commission of Inquiry's mandate and the overlap between its work and their independent investigation. Responses from the Commission of the Inquiry's legal team and the Attorney General are still pending. Foreign Affairs and the Diaspora Minister said his ministry has found no record of President Patrick Emini's statement that at least 40 Seychellois are being held in prisons in India and Pakistan. Minister Barry Ford was responding to a question from the Beauvallon elected member John Roireau during the National Assembly's question time sessions yesterday. Mr. Roireau asked the minister to confirm whether the president had made the statement and to provide details on the circumstances that led to the convictions of those reportedly detained. In response, Minister Ford said checks carried out by the ministry found no evidence that President Emini had made such a statement. Still in the National Assembly, members unanimously approved a motion calling on the government to consider and implement resolutions adopted by the Seychelles National Youth Assembly SNYA. The motion tabled by elected member Andy Laponte highlights the growing importance of young people's involvement in the country's development and decision-making processes. Presenting the motion, Mr. Laponte said the Youth Assembly is now more relevant than ever as it provides a platform for young Seychellois to contribute to the national discussions. He added that the recommendations put forward by youth parliamentarians are practical proposals that should be carefully considered and, where appropriate, incorporated into government policies to better address the needs and aspirations of the country's youth. The Seychelles Revenue Commission SRC has announced that effective Monday 13th July, that is next Monday, it will implement a new policy governing the use of cheque for tax and duty payments. Explaining the rationale behind the new policy, Tax Commissioner Gayatri Shetty said the measure is intended to strengthen the Commission's revenue collection processes while encouraging taxpayers to adopt digital payment methods. Under the new policy, a maximum threshold will be introduced for payments made by cheque, and this limit will be gradually reduced over the next 2 years as part of the transition towards greater use of electronic payment options.
For tax payment for this year, we will accept cheque not more than 200,000 rupees, which will gradually phase out in 2027 and 2028. For 2027, we will reduce the threshold from 200,000 to 100,000, and then in 2028, it will reduce to 50,000 rupees, whereby we will phase out with cheque payment collection by the 31st of December 2028. For customs payment, we are sticking to 50,000 collection of cheque payment, which we will introduce from 13th of July 2026, and we will accept only 50,000, which will phase out by the 31st of December 2028. So we don't have the gradual phasing threshold for customs, but we will stick with the 50,000 until the 31st December 2028. This will reduce the risk and challenges that SRC faced for the previous period, and also it will facilitate taxpayers and traders to make their transaction with SRC smoothly.
And with this, we end this news summary. I'll be back at 8 with the Creole Bulletin. Good evening.